triple killer calmly carried out drug deals with the brother of one of his victims only months after the fatal shooting, a court heard. Michael Steele lured Patrick Tate and two associates to a country lane in Retterdon in December 1995 and shot them dead over a drugs dispute. Only 3 months later, Russell Tate helped Steele smuggle cannabis resin. Prosecutor Andrew Munday, QC, told Woolwich Crown Court. Mr. Munday said, Steele, having killed Patrick Tate, was involved with Russell Tate, as if nothing had happened. Tate, 36, helped organise the delivery of drugs from Spain to the Belgian coast for transportation to England, claimed Mr. Munday. Tate, alongside 6 others including Michael James of Pitsea, denies conspiring to smuggle cannabis resin between March 25th and 14th of May 1996. Police and customs officers allegedly watched the importation of £500,000 of cannabis resin to Clacton. An aeroplane with a thermal imaging camera followed a boat from the Suffolk coast of Belgium, where bags of the drug were loaded up. He told the jury that Tate and James were part of a team which went to Spain. Referring to the triple murder, Mr. Munday said it was a dark side of the case, which happened after poor quality cannabis was delivered, and Steele fell out with Patrick Tate. He said, the row between Tate and Steele got to such a pitch, Steele decided to end that row by killing him. The other 2 men murdered were Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe. Steele and Williams were each jailed for life in January this year for the murders. They did not appear in the dock charged with the 1996 drug importations. The case continues. A Midland woman described as a lieutenant in a drug smuggling gang and a childhood friend faced lengthy prison sentences for their part in a multi-million-pound cannabis racket. Sarah Darlaston became involved after her lover, Russell Tate, hatched a plot to bring her brother's killer, Michael Steele, to justice, but instead ended up conspiring to smuggle drugs with him. Woolwich Crown Court heard yesterday how the drugs were brought in from Spain and smuggled in through France to Belgium, from where they were shipped to England. On one occasion in May 1996, police and customs officers used an aeroplane with a thermal imaging camera to follow a boat on its journey between Suffolk and Belgium. Its cargo was 150 kilos of cannabis, with a street value of £500,000. Mr. Andrew Munday, QC prosecuting, said it was not the first importation this team had completed. Other importations were carried out by part of the team. The court heard old Tate and Darlaston went to Spain to buy the drugs. Others who took part on that side of the operation included Tracy Rollstone, described by customs as Darlaston's lifelong friend, and her boyfriend, Ian Kerr. Yesterday the jury convicted Tate, formerly of Benfleet, Essex, Kerr and Rollstone, Darlaston, both from Lichfield, guilty of conspiring to smuggle drugs. Also convicted was Paul Gwynedd and Craig Androkoloskis, both of Essex. Sentencing was adjourned to today. Although Steele, a convicted murderer, is said to be co-conspirator in the drugs gang, he has not yet faced trial for legal reasons, along with 3 other men, the court was told. Last night, Customs and Excise Senior Investigator, Mr. Ranald MacDonald, welcomed the jury's verdicts. It is an excellent result and a tribute to the dedication and hard work of the officers who have worked on this for such a long time. Darlaston travelled to Spain on frequent occasions with Russell Tate, claiming they were lovers and on holiday. But her role was to carry money, estimated at hundreds of thousands of pounds, and take part in the purchases of cannabis in Spain or Gibraltar, as well as its transportation to England. She could be classed as the female lieutenant come assistant to Tate, said Mr. MacDonald. Rollstone was a childhood friend, and that in turn led to her involvement, while Curl is Rollstone's boyfriend. These 2 were involved in the movement of the drugs through Spain, France and Belgium. A Midland woman and her 2 friends, tempted by the lure of easy money through drug smuggling, have each been jailed for 30 months. Sarah Darlaston, Tracy Rollstone and Ian Kerr were young and otherwise innocent people drawn into a multi-million-pound smuggling racket by Russell Tate, the brother of drugs baron Patrick Tate, who was executed in a dispute with associates. Tate claimed he got involved with his brother's killer Michael Steele to bring him to justice. But Tate was jailed for 5 years yesterday after a jury at Woolwich Crown Court found him guilty of conspiring to smuggle cannabis resin. Judge Jeffrey Rucker said Tate had to bear the responsibility of introducing 3 young and otherwise innocent people in being involved in quite a serious offence. Sarah Darliston, Ralston and Ian Kerr were jailed after being convicted of conspiring to smuggle drugs. The 3, all aged 23, had denied the charges. Also jailed was Paul Gwinnett, no age given, of Essex, who received 4 years, and Craig Androlopoulos from Clacton-on-Sea, who was sentenced to 2 years. Judge Rucker said Tate had prepared an ingenious story as a way of explaining his involvement in a conspiracy, but it did not simply bear the scrutiny of common sense and day-to-day experience of life. It was wholly untrue. He said that listening to the evidence throughout the 6 weeks trial, he did not believe for a moment Tate had ever suspected Steele of murdering his brother. Apart from Gwinnett with a previous drug conviction, the judge said the other 4 were typical of young people who had an ambivalent attitude to drugs, who allowed themselves to be tempted by easy money, and before you know what happened, you are in a serious situation because the law takes a very serious view on drugs. A customs officer said had they not been arrested, they would have continued to bring in 200 kilos of cannabis resin on a regular basis. Convicted murderer Michael Steele was said in court to have been a co-conspirator in bringing in the cannabis resin from Belgium. He, along with 3 other men, have not faced trial for legal reasons.